Welcome back to Academic Challenge. Before we begin our next round, let's recap the scores at this point in our match. With 245 points, Hillsdale. With 265 points, Dalton. And with 295 points, Padua Franciscan. It is time for the picture-perfect round. Now, each correct answer is worth 10 points, but a wrong or no answer will cost your team 10 points. All three teams play, so hands on the buzzer, eyes on the monitor there on the floor, because here we go with this question. In this type of braided leather bag, Bedouins from Saudi Arabia carry beans that make what popular caffeinated beverage? Padua Franciscan.
Coffee.
That is correct. This 19th century painting depicts the drowning death of what Shakespeare character? Dalton.
Ophelia.
Is correct. Carved by an ancient Phoenician artist, this ivory panel was discovered centuries later on the banks of what Middle Eastern river that merges with the Euphrates? Hillsdale.
Tigris.
Is correct. Of the figures shown here, which one represents the largest number? Dalton.
3 to the 3rd.
Is correct. This is the famed Golden Portal in Samarkand, a city that was captured in 1220 AD by what first of the great Mongol chiefs? Dalton.
Genghis Khan.
That is also correct. The molecular formula for hydrogen peroxide is which of these? Dalton.
H2O2.
Is correct. Shortly before Dolly Madison died in 1849, she posed for what photographer best known later for his photographs of the Civil War? Hillsdale.
Matthew Brady.
That is correct. This 1918 Plain Dealer headline tells of Germany's surrender ending World War I, the anniversary of which is commemorated by what federal holiday formerly known as Armistice Day? We are looking for Veterans Day. We will be back with more Academic Challenge for you and meet the team advisors right after this. Let's welcome and meet our team advisors from Dalton, Lynn Ramsey, from Hillsdale, Steve Taylor, and from Padua Franciscan, Harvey Cohen and Chris Keevey. It is time to get back underway with our Hot Picks round. One at a time, I will ask each team 8 questions. A correct response is worth 20 points with no penalty for a wrong answer. Any team which answers all 8 questions correctly, that team will receive 25 bonus points. First up is team number 1, Dalton. But the way we do this, I call on the captain from team number 2, Cassie, to pick their questions. 1, 2, or 3.
2.
2 it shall be. Now, Lewis, Reese, and Ben, you don't have to buzz in. I've got your questions right here, and we're going to start with this. In his History of the English-Speaking Peoples, Winston Churchill included a description of what ship that brought the Pilgrims to Massachusetts in 1620?
Mayflower.
That is correct. Although Beowulf is an Anglo-Saxon epic, it is not set in Britain, but in what European peninsula that includes Sweden and Norway?
Scandinavia.
That is correct. The soul of Brutus and the charms of Cleopatra were the qualities that one scholar claimed to see in what 18th century Russian empress called the Great?
Catherine.
That is correct. Take a look at the monitor, please, for a science question. Which of these terms is used to name the functional unit of a vertebrate's kidney?
Alveolus.
Looking for nephron. We were looking for nephron. The telegram ordering the troops to open fire on Fort Sumter was sent to Charleston from what Alabama city, first capital of the Confederacy?
Montgomery.
Is correct. Author John Steinbeck had the Joad family face a multitude of economic and personal hardships in what novel about the Okies and the Dust Bowl of the 1930s?
Grapes of Wrath.
That is correct. Having trouble separating the questions here. Take a look at the monitor, please, for a math question. Evaluate this expression. Need an answer.
40.
36. Looking for 36. And final question. Captain Robert Gray was the first American to sail around the world, but he is better known as the discoverer of what river that separates Oregon and Washington?
Columbia.
That is correct. Well done, Dalton. All right, team number 2, you're up. But I'm going to call on Shane from Padua Franciscan to pick the questions, 1 to 3.
3.
Okay. Mel, Cassie, and Colin, you don't have to buzz in. I've got your questions, and we're going to begin with this. Levi Coffin, a Quaker who helped thousands of slaves run away, was often called the president of what secret escape system also associated with Harriet Tubman?
The Underground Railroad.
That is correct. If the Darling family from Peter Pan went sailing on the Darling River, they would be in what down-under continent whose largest city is Sydney?
Australia.
That is correct. In 1754, Benjamin Franklin proposed a colonial unification plan that was named for what city, now the capital of New York State?
Albany.
That is correct. Take a look at the monitor, please, for a science question. Which of these is a very small superdense star thought to form when a massive star explodes?
Neutron star.
That is correct. Polish archaeologists think they have located the grave of what 16th century Polish astronomer who stated that the Earth revolved around the sun?
Copernicus.
That is correct. A historical novel by Nordhoff and Hall was based on the real mutiny that took place when Fletcher Christian led the crew of what British ship to mutiny against Captain Bligh?
The Bounty.
That is correct, HMS Bounty. Take a look at the monitor for a math question. Solve for X.
X equals 4.
X equals 3, looking for 3. General Matthew Ridgway arrived in Korea in 1951 as a replacement for what other general who had been fired by President Truman?
MacArthur.
MacArthur is correct. Well done, Hillsdale. We have one set of questions left, and these questions are for Steve, Shane, and Monica. We begin with this. It might be tiring to stand up for all 158 stanzas of the national anthem of what European country where the Olympic Games began?
Greece.
Yes, Greece. Our whole modern telecommunications industry would never have gotten off the ground if it were not for what 19th century American who invented the first telephone?
Alexander Graham Bell.
That is correct. On the eve of the Civil War, there were only 12 slaves legally held in what U.S. territory that had been settled by Mormons?
Utah.
That is correct. Take a look at the monitor, please, for a science question. When a chemist mixes a metallic anhydride with water, what kind of solution is formed? Acidic, neutral, or basic?
Acidic.
Basic. Looking for basic. Today, many people go to Florida to retire, but it was a search for the fountain of youth that brought the first Spaniards to Florida in 1513 under the leadership of what man?
Leon.
Correct, Ponce de Leon. Sleeping Beauty might have felt at home in what drowsily named town in the title of a story or legend by Washington Irving?
Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow is correct. Take a look at the monitor, please, for a math question. What is the positive value of this expression, giving your answer as an integer?
11.
11 is correct. When Napoleon married his second wife, Marie Louise, he married into what royal Austrian family that ruled until 1918?
Habsburgs.
That is correct. Well done, Padua Franciscan. We're going to be back with our deciding and final round right after this. Welcome back to Academic Challenge. Before we continue, we want to recap the scores at this point in the match. In third place with 405 points, Hillsdale. In second place with 425 points, Dalton. And in first place with 445 points, Padua Franciscan. It's time for the grab bag round. And in this free-for-all, each correct answer is worth 20 points, but a team will lose 20 points for a wrong or no answer. There will also be some visual questions worth 30 points, but an incorrect answer will cost your team 30 points. This is for all three teams, so everybody, hands on the buzzers, because here we go. Ohio's population has grown by 1% since the last national census was taken in what year? Dalton.
2000.
That is correct. One of Faulkner's short stories has a very short title. What three-letter word that is the past tense of the verb to be? Padua Franciscan.
Was.
Was is correct. In 1957, there was a national uproar when 9 black students were prevented from enrolling at Central High School in what Arkansas capital? Dalton.
Little Rock.
Little Rock is correct. Take a look at the monitor, please. The ancient Egyptian artwork depicts what major god who was resurrected by his wife Isis after being murdered by Dalton?
Osiris.
Is correct. What man of small build but large intellect was called the Little Giant when he debated Abraham Lincoln in Illinois? Hillsdale.
McClellan.
Douglas. Stephen Douglas. What would be the area of the smallest square that could be circumscribed around a circle with a 3-inch radius? Hillsdale.
36.
36 is correct. Englishman Arthur Larkins must have been off on a lark when he signed on as a sailor aboard what flagship of Christopher Columbus? Padua Franciscan.
The Magna Carta.
Santa Maria, looking for Santa Maria. Take a look at the monitor, please. Invitations to travel are dancing lessons from God. We invite you to study these intriguing words written by what American author, whose novels include Cat's Cradle and Welcome to the Monkey House. We're looking for Vonnegut. Nicknamed the Fourth Pyramid, a gigantic library has now opened its doors in what Egyptian port city known for an ancient library built there? Dalton.
Alexandria.
Alexandria is correct. The saturation point of air is commonly called its freezing point, dew point, or atmospheric pressure. Dalton.
Dew point.
Dew point is correct. The star will just wear a loincloth in the upcoming Broadway musical based on what jungle hero created by Hillsdale?
George, Build the
Actually,
Jungle.
created by Edgar Rice Burroughs. We're looking for Tarzan. Take a look at the monitor, please. In 1875, American artist Samuel Coleman painted this mosque in what North African country that won its independence from France in 1962? Hillsdale.
Morocco.
Algeria. Looking for Algeria. All right, let's see how the teams have done this evening and find out who has won our match. In third place with 355 points, Hillsdale. In second place with 445 points, Padua Franciscan. Stand up, Dalton. You are our winners tonight on Academic Challenge with 535 points. Congratulations, Lewis, Reese, and Ben. Be sure to join us next week as we will feature teams from Bedford, Brunswick, and Glen Oaks. We'll see you next week for another Academic Challenge. I'm Adam Shapiro. Good night, everybody.
Academic Challenge has been brought to you by Westfield Insurance.